Okay, remember when I said this was a good week in WWE? Well, there was one exception, and that was Superstars. This show wasn't even diverting. It didn't even hold my attention for a second. It just bored me. All the matches were boring. Didn't care about anything on it. We had Evan Bourne versus Chris Masters. Chris Masters dominated most of this match, which led me to believe Evan Bourne was going to win the match. But I'm always slightly worried when they do this, when they have Evan Bourne get dominated, that he's just going to get squashed. But it didn't happen. Evan Bourne won. Thank God. Only thing I know about this match is, first of all, they were talking about this like it was an upset, which annoyed me. But throughout the match, Michael Cole and the King were talking about how when they see Evan Bourne in the ring, someone of his size, it doesn't seem like it's possible that he's going to beat someone of Chris Masters' size or someone of Jack Swagger's size, but somehow he manages to do it. And this worried me. This made me think about Bryan Danielson, who's a small guy by WWE standards, a really small guy. And it just seems like they've got this sort of self-perpetuating myth going on in WWE right now. Like, Vince McMahon's style of booking has always been, no one will believe it if a small guy is World Heavyweight Champion. You need a big guy to be World Heavyweight Champion. That's always been what he thought. And, in fact, everyone would believe it if you had a small guy who's World Heavyweight Champion, as long as they're talented. But because Vince has stuck so firmly to this idea that you must have a big guy as World Heavyweight Champion, now everyone believes you must have a big guy as World Heavyweight Champion. And so, I just really don't think Vince McMahon is ever going to see past Bryan Danielson's size. I just really don't think it's going to happen. So I'm really worried about that. Anyway, in other news, Nigel McGuinness is signed with WWE. I actually do think he'll probably get pushed, which is obviously a good thing, because he's more like a WWE-sized wrestler, so I think he'll get a push. Good stuff. Then we had Tyler Rex versus William Regal. We all know my opinions on Tyler Rex. I think he's the most boring human being who ever lived. He is... At the start of this match, Matt Striker was talking about how Tyler Rex doesn't have a tan because he doesn't do much surfing these days because he's working on his wrestling so much. And I was like, oh great. So you just made Tyler Rex's gimmick even more redundant than it already was. William Regal won. Thank God for that. Hart Dynasty, whole Hart Dynasty, including Natalia versus Crime Time and Eve. Fairly boring match. Natalia wins by hitting Eve with the discus clothesline, which is a rubbish finisher. I don't rate that move at all. Eve actually looked quite impressive with this. She did some good stuff. Natalia looked really impressive in this. All this match really proved was that mixed tag team matches don't work because Shad had David Hart Smith beat, and David Hart Smith just tagged in Natalia, and then basically the match just starts again because Shad has to leave the ring, Eve Torres has to come in. There's just two fresh people fighting each other once again. Didn't really work. But that was that. Superstars, rubbish. Friday Night Smackdown. This was... I was going to say this was good, but it's actually... That wouldn't actually be true. There were a lot of things I really enjoyed about this. I enjoyed Undertaker chokeslamming CM Punk at the end through the announce table. I enjoyed the fact that they didn't move the cameras or the monitors or anything. I hate when they dismantle tables before they put people through them. It just makes no sense. I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed CM Punk coming out dressed as Jeff Hardy and his promo at the start of the show. Thought that was great. And above all that, I enjoyed John Morrison versus Rey Mysterio. I thought that was a fucking great match. That was really, really genuinely good. I think that was one of the top 10 matches we've seen on WWE television this week. Really capped off what has been a very good week. And even though I knew John Morrison was going over the entire time, it really didn't hurt the match for me. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Anyway, CM Punk comes out dressed up as Jeff Hardy. Great moment. Hardy's music plays. CM Punk comes out and all the kids are cheering. And, of course their hearts are broken when they realize it's CM Punk. I thought it was great. And then Punk cuts a really good promo, once again. And it's a really good promo because everyone was wondering, how is CM Punk going to feud with The Undertaker, given CM Punk's gimmick? Because evidently The Undertaker isn't a big smoker, isn't a big drinker, doesn't do many drugs, etc., etc. So Punk comes out and he's criticised Jeff Hardy, calls him the charismatic enabler, which I found funny. But then he starts talking about The Undertaker and he says, See, The Undertaker won't come down and fight me man to man. He prefers psychological tricks, which is what all you prefer. You all prefer smoke and mirrors. You all prefer to have your lives diluted and dulled. You know, you all prefer illusions, whereas I prefer pure reality. That's why I'm straight edge. I thought it really worked. I thought it was a great explanation. I really liked this. And then he says some great things. He makes himself sound really credible. He made me believe just for a second that he could make The Undertaker tap out. And I know he can't make The Undertaker tap out. I know that. And he says, I have no breaking point. I've never succumbed to peer pressure, unlike everyone else. I'm the one human being who just won't break, who won't give up. I thought it was a great promo. After it, Matt comes down, Matt Hardy, and just delivers the worst beatdown since last week when the great Cali delivered a beatdown. Matt Hardy is terrible at strikes. He's awful. Anyway, we had the great Cali and Finlay versus Mike Knox and Kane. Awful, 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 awful. They've booked Kane versus Cali in a Singapore Kane match. Quite why? Singapore Kane match. I mean, it's just like, okay, fair enough. But this match was terrible. The only thing I note was that Finlay bled, of course, hard way, because you can't bleed any other way, right across his arm. Which, you know, I was just happy to see some blood on WWE TV. We have a backstage segment which encourages the idea that Dolph Ziggler is popular with the ladies. And then we have a Divas tag match between Maria and Eve Torres versus Natalya and Layla. I spent the opening part of this match debating in my head who was worse, Maria or Alicia Fox. And unbelievably, I came up with the conclusion that there is someone worse than Alicia Fox in this world, because Maria is awful. The tolerable point in this match was when Maria was getting dominated, and I mean utterly dominated. Layla actually did something quite good, some quite athletic submission hold. There was some terrible commentary in this match, which I'll get to later. The only things I really remember was the ref shouting, "Tag!" like that, and Layla shouting, "You gotta be kidding me!" like constantly throughout this match. That was about it. Really terrible match. Didn't enjoy it at all. We get Matt Hardy delivering a promo to Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews asked him, is the display we saw earlier in the night an indication of what you're going to do to CM Punk later tonight? The display we saw earlier in the night was Matt Hardy doing this. Matt Hardy's promo was better than usual, but still shit. Then we had CM Punk versus Matt Hardy. Terrible fucking match. This was awful. Matt Hardy can't fucking wrestle. He was just in CM Punk's way. That's all it was, you know. CM Punk had clearly, you know, CM Punk doesn't miss a beat in a match. He is really on it all the time. But Matt Hardy, just like CM Punk's trying to do something and Matt Hardy would just be messing it up. It was awful. It was so bad. It got okay towards the end. They thought of a few spots to do, but the first bit of this match was so boring. Todd Grisham claims that Matt Hardy's intestines exploded. Can someone tell me if this is possible? It sounds like it could be possible, but I don't know. But Punk works on Matt's ribs, and the best bits of this match are when Punk's just smashing Matt with strikes and stuff like that. There's a sort of... I thought this was the perfect opportunity for them to put over the Anaconda Vice, which they're advertising as CM Punk's, the movie's going to make The Undertaker tap out to. He should have made Matt Hardy tap out to it here. But they just didn't have him do it. They just had a sort of no finish to this match where Punk destroyed Matt Hardy with the steel chair afterwards. And I was like, oh great, they're doing a fucking program between Matt Hardy and CM Punk. That's why they have no finish to this match. They're going to do it for the World Heavyweight title. I don't want to see it. Matt Hardy is appalling. Plus these two have no chemistry whatsoever. Anyway, Undertaker comes out, chokeslams Punk through the table, which just leaves us time to talk about the greatness, the Intercontinental title, John Morrison, Rey Mysterio. This was fucking awesome. Start of the match, we get a big Let's Go Morrison chant, which I like to hear. I wasn't sure why they were doing it though. Is it because Rey got suspended? Because I don't blame Rey for his suspension, so I'm not sure about that. A great feeling out process at the start of this match. We have a Greco-Roman knuckle lock, which is turned into all sorts of monkey flips and on the shoulders and all this sort of stuff. Mysterio hits some beautiful moves in this match. they were talking about if they were to score matches on points, Mysterio would have lost to Dolph Ziggler. If they were to score this on points, a tie. Because they were both awesome, awesome, awesome. Mysterio hit a few spinning head scissors and stuff like this. It was great. End of the match, I'll talk about this match more later, I think, but end of the match, Mysterio goes for a top rope Hurricane Rana move, and Morrison holds on and then delivers Starship Pain, which he over-rotated on, but actually looked better. Great match. Morrison's the Intercontinental Champion. I know some people are annoyed about that. I don't know why. I'm quite happy with this. Intercontinental Championship's been quite elevated. I think it'll be a good match between him and Ziggler. Anyway, turn over to part 3.